There's been a lot of people talking in the past few days about our decision to strike Syria. But not everyone knows what they're talking about. I've been to Syria. I've been on the front line with the Kurdish forces fighting against ISIS. And the simple fact is that the situation on the ground is more complicated than most people realise. There are hundreds of groups fighting each other. Some are genuine freedom fighters, while others are terrorists. It's not all simple or black and white. We can't fix all of the problems out there, but I know for a fact that our British servicemen and women on the ground trying to make the situation better. What's wrong today is some politicians, yes, you, Jeremy Corbyn, don't accept that the British military have any constructive role to play. It's a dangerous attitude that ignores their bravery and undermines their valuable work.
So, just help me understand what you're saying. So, are you saying that you think that what we did last weekend was the right thing in terms of the strike? Yeah, so what I'm saying is when they were trying to throw it open to everybody voting on it and let's look at what we're doing before we can do it, that's like waving your colours and going, we're going to do this, we're coming. Do you know what I mean? That's no good.
No,
that
ain't no
Trump
good. Did.
Yeah, so
that's no good.
So you're for military action,
I'm
but
for
against
military action
Parliament.
if the evidence that's been supplied by the right people on the ground is OK. I'm not for waving that flag and saying we're coming beforehand, which is what is appeared. You know, Corbyn was saying, no, it should be thrown open to a massive vote. No, we're putting our cards on the table so everybody can read them before we do anything, is what I was saying. I mean, you said that you don't think that people do understand how complicated the situation is in Syria, and I would actually say that most people do understand that this is an absolute complicated mess. You would need, honestly, to unravel it, you'd need a brain the size of a planet. Absolutely. It's ridiculous. So this is, so for someone like me, I absolutely don't understand every single inch of what's going on, but I do understand that it's very complicated in terms of multiple things, multiple people, multiple backers, all this. It's an absolute mess. And so to throw that open to a massive vote where everybody's just dipping in, I mean, for one, Corbyn, I wouldn't trust him with me cat in the weekend, you know what I mean? I really wouldn't. And when it comes to matters of national importance or security even, you know, his dubious friends would probably... But is it just Corbyn, or are you saying that about Corbyn? Or are you saying
the point about Corbyn said that we shouldn't do anything with our allies who were at that time, the US and France, without there being a vote in the UN. And then Theresa May correctly pointed out this means that we give the Russians a veto on what we do, on what we do.
12 times.
But further to what you said, it may be helpful or not helpful if we have a quick look at a graphic which actually purports to explain the dynamic of Syria, which to me looks like three-dimensional chess played by at least 15 people. Around the outer rim, you see the main actors in terms of countries in the Syria conflict. In the middle, you will see ISIS. And in those lines, the arrows from the main actors into the centre show how the different actors are both linking with each other and against ISIS. It is completely incomprehensible, isn't it, Phil?
So where I'm coming from with this is, you know, we've got good soldiers out there, and, you know, unfortunately we lost a lad the other day, you know, a sergeant from whatever regiment it come from, it doesn't matter, OK? We're losing soldiers out there. We have got a presence out there. We need a presence out there. But what I'm saying is, let the boys and girls do their job. Because we started all that, all right? We've been out there. We've left a void. We've got to do something about it. As a main power in this world, if we just pull out of that now, all sorts of things are going to pull in.
Hold on, Phil. We started
we were part of the... No, we didn't start. All right, OK. All right, but we were part of the catalyst. The void that we left when we pulled out and all that sort of stuff was where ISIS filled up, and then the catalyst was... And then all the other stuff going on over there, like I say, if we pull out, he gets done. If they pull out, they get done. So we have an obligation, really, to try and go the long haul with it. Sorry.
Can I ask a question? But if they don't do that, but that's our system. That we have to vote on these things. You can't just...
What I'm saying is, on certain things... You know, like this was supposed to be a strike on an installation that was providing chemical weapons. You can't just sort of like, right, everybody, chemical weapons are going to... You wouldn't do that, would you? It's like you're giving your game away before... So all that sort of stuff, only certain people should know. Cobra should know, the PM should know, and the people on the ground should know. And outside of that, even other soldiers in the unit don't know what's going on. You see what I'm saying? So you can't be airing all this stuff.
What I found interesting from all of this is, and it's faintly ridiculous for me to lecture about military operations with you sitting around the table, but the key element is surprise in virtually every military operation you can think of, so it is absurd. I think much as in the first...
Is so
well, in the first conversation, I was happy to lambast the government as as much as I could here. I think they played an absolute blinder. I think those military strikes have worked. Fortunately, no one died. They do seem to have degraded Assad's chemical agent or manufacturing capability. That is something to be applauded. And I think in the... Well, OK, let me just say this. I think it's to her credit that in the debate that followed that this week, each and every single party leader said that Mrs May had contacted them prior, and so she'd contacted Jeremy Corbyn, which is absolutely right. I think Jeremy Corbyn is hamstrung by the fact that he's a pacifist. Now, actually, it's quite brave sometimes to be a pacifist. It's not easy to be a pacifist.
He can't bring himself to disagree with anything Russia does anywhere.
So he probably wouldn't even want to know. But here's 2 words, end game, Phil.
End game, right. I'll come back to end game. Let's just have a butcher's at what I was up to out there. Yeah. Very quickly.
Right.
All right.
From here, these lads spend all day monitoring the IS front line. And if they see anything move, then it's fair game.
1,000 metres village. 3 fingers right of village, small building and cops. In the distance, driving away from that, and you might not see him now because he's on a lane, is the ISIS motorcycle. And he's headed towards that village in the distance.
OK, so if I needed Corbyn's permission every time somebody needed to be clipped, I'd be on the phone a lot to Corbyn, wouldn't I?
That's not
is what I'm saying, right? So, end game coming to you, right? End game here. Those people need our help. They're in a lot of trouble, and if we just pull out and leave them, they're going to be even more trouble. So we are in a big situation there where there's no immediate end to the problems, but we can't just abandon them.
OK, Phil, but you were working with the Kurds. But that's Turkey's worst nightmare, isn't it? Turkey's also one of our allies.
All the different parts of this, if we pull out, the Kurds will come under more pressure. There's always going to be something going on there at the moment. There is no definite end game,
and that's my point about saying that whole region is so contentious. Anyway, let's see what Jeremy Corbyn actually said.
I believe that the action was legally questionable, and on Saturday the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said as much, reiterating that all countries must act in line with the United Nations Charter, which states action must be in self-defence or be authorised by the United Nations Security Council.
So that's what he said.
But it never was, June. 12 times Russia has blocked it. Yeah. 12. What makes you think they won't a 13th time?
They will.
Of course they will. He's right. You have to have the elements of... Corbyn is a pacifist. He's not
a soldier. He doesn't understand, so keep out of soldiers' business, basically, is what I'm saying to him.
Well, they have to be regulated, though, Phil.
They do need to be regulated, but I'm saying, we've got Cobber in place and we've got the Prime Minister in place.
But you almost seem to, and I'm sure I've misinterpreted, but say, let's go in and invade. You're not saying...
No, I'm not saying invade. I'm saying if a situation arises where we need to help and we need to intervene and we need to stand up and be counted, then those decisions have been made and the soldiers on the ground need to deal with it, not the politicians.
Can I just clarify what you said? It was 6 vetoes.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Phil, what did you feel as a soldier who's been out there when Trump said he was going to pull out US troops from the region then?
I think that would be catastrophic as well. I think until the whole thing is stabilised and in a position to hand over
will it be stabilised?
And that's what I'm saying. We're in there, aren't we? And that's what I'm saying. The end game at the moment is unidentifiable.
Yeah.
But it's another futile exercise in just gesture war, isn't it? Because, we'll go and bomb the hell out of these places. There's not only no end game, there's no reconstruction plan, there's nothing, there's no plan for civil,
So what do you do? Just pull out and leave it, put the toy down, had enough of that, not playing with that anymore?
Phil, can I just ask you a question? Because I don't understand. When you're saying pull out, I didn't realise we had...
stay in. He's saying stay in.
No, I know that. I know.
But
when you're saying we can't pull out, when you're talking about pulling out, I didn't realise we had like a huge presence in Syria.
We have a presence in Syria, yeah.
Big? Little? Because I didn't realise that.
It's right. We obviously are involved over there, as we know. A sergeant was killed not a week ago. Okay. So we know we have a presence over there. We know our planes have gone over there, and they've been talking about and sanctioning, strikes on designated targets. So we have a presence there. What I'm saying is you can't just disappear. You can't just put that toy down and go, I'm not playing with that anymore, because we now have an obligation whereby we've been involved with something and we now need to try and see it to its conclusion.
Phil, I need to clip you and move this 2 clicks on.